Welcome back, guys, to another race.
And welcome back to another part of our F1 24 career mode. This is part number 7 today for the Imola Grand Prix in our rookie debut season in Formula 1. If you guys did miss the previous part at the Miami Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see the rest of this one, as we start this episode with already a failure of an upgrade for Lando there. The guy just can't keep getting failed upgrades, huh? I mean, I blame Colin personally because he's the man in charge of failure of upgrades with the specialist. But Miami was a bit of a tough affair for us if you watch that one. And, you know, obviously not too much glory for McLaren, unlike in real life, you know, where Lando won IRL. It was a bit of a painful one for Papaya because Lando didn't have too much pace. And then we had even worse pace around Miami because our engine was literally cooking every single lap, basically, and we're just going backwards and backwards. You know, even with a small mistake in the sprint didn't help our cause. So yeah, all around a bit of a race weekend to forget, as we ended it with a race-ending crash and spin into the wall. So yeah, moving past it, moving on, and hoping for better times here at the Imola Grand Prix. I've always gone well at Imola. I've really enjoyed it in the last few F1 games, and you know, we're still looking pretty darn good. You know, as a rookie in Formula 1, to be P7 in the championship ahead of the both Mercedes cars of Russell and Hamilton, that's still pretty damn good. But you can see there is a gulf to where Lando is. You know, we're about, you know, half the points of what Lando's got, basically. He's just showing, you know, how well established he is in Formula 1 and how much of a tough opponent we have chosen as a teammate. You know, even though McLaren, yes, we are up there in the R&D chart, ourselves as an individual driver, we have a lot to go and a lot to learn with this new game if we want to try and match Lando Norris. But now we're having a look at what potential next upgrade we should purchase. We've got just under 600 R&D points to go. Just having a look at what Lando had his eye on. So he's got his eye on the next weight reduction upgrade, but I actually reckon it might be worth getting the next engine power upgrade, which is a major upgrade. You can see everyone minus Alpine are very equalized on the overall engine performance, so this could really give us a slight advantage maybe in that department. It's a department that we were really suffering with at Miami with overheating issues. Some of you suggested maybe an upgrade on the engine might help the cooling issues as well as the engine power. I don't know, but I'm hoping that will also alleviate the problems I was having in Miami, where it felt like F1 22 almost, where the AI drivers were way too quick out the corners. But look at this. Lando, what are you doing, brother? Absolutely niche. There's nothing going on your side of the garage for R&D upgrades at the moment. Absolute slack. I'm telling you, since the start of the series. Absolute slacker. God. I'm just going to show you guys my engine components as well, by the way, because a couple of you were asking about maybe that was the reason why our engine was overheating so much, but the wear really isn't that high at all so far. Like, I've been managing it quite well by moving over to column 2 for a few components. It's definitely not like a glitch like we've had in previous F1 games where the practice programs, like doing quick practice, is overwearing the engine. I'm actually not finding that on this year's game, which is a good thing, but it also means that I'm still left confused at why our engine was overheating so much. There were other suggestions from some of you that it really might be the gear changing and maybe having to work on shifting up earlier, so we'll look into it. But at the same time, I also do think a little bit is just something broken there a little bit, because in the same way the ERS is, in my opinion, is a bit OP for the AI, I think the engine temperatures and we're seeing with the tires as well, just very extreme. Everything's very, very extreme in this game so far since the launch. So just hoping that, you know, whenever the next big patch is going to be, and we know it's on the way, and hopefully it just balances things out. But as we go to our specialists, oh no, can you see what I'm seeing? Oh dear, Miguel, I feel guilty now. He has actually changed his shirt now. He has not got a McLaren top on. He's actually returned the one he stole from someone at the team. I kind of feel bad now for having a go at him, because he's clearly heard me and he's changed it immediately from one episode to the other. That's unbelievable. He actually looks a bit guilty. He looks a bit shaken up, to be honest. I'm sorry. You sip that tea, mate. You calm down. Despite the tough times at Miami, we did actually complete a fair number of our goals in that horrendous race, and hopefully we'll be completing a lot more here in Imola as we go over to Marcel, and he's given us a bit of a difficult one here, finishing in a better position in quali than our teammates. That requires us to out-qualify Lando. I am somewhat confident about maybe doing it at Imola, but also at the same time, do I hedge my bets? Because if we don't do the goal, then we won't, then we lose something. So I'm actually going to skip out Marcel's goals for now. Whereas Zoe, I love Zoe. She's been an absolute star. Look at that. We are nearly at level 1 with Zoe as our wind tunnel engineer. Opening the DRS slot for more than 45 seconds. That seems pretty darn reasonable. Zoe is the GOAT, okay? All the goals are very reasonable. Whereas with Colin, what stupid goal have you got for us today, mate? Keep tires below 120 degrees. 100 in inters, 90 in wet in one session. We just had a race where Mark was banging on about tyres overheating, and now you want us to keep the tyres below. Knowing me, now not only is the engine going to be cooked at Imola, the tyre is going to be cooked, but I'm going to go with it because your other goal is complete the weekend without any collisions with other cars, and I'm sorry, that just always happens. It's a bloody career mode with AI drivers. So, yeah, thanks for nothing, Colin. Thanks for nothing. Right. Well, we've got our goals set for the next race weekend. I think it's time to go into Imola. Just checking if our upgrade comes in. It does for the rear wing, although to be fair, I think that was one I repurchased, so that was never going to fail. But going into Imola then, good progress. We are, I think, still P2 in the standings, R&D wise. We actually technically were second at Miami, but we started such a horrendous episode, alluding to the McLaren innately being pretty bad at Miami, at least in the game, in real life before this year. But Mercedes and Ferrari are close. Aston are closing up as well on us, which maybe explains why they were looking so good at Miami. So let's see how they are. And then at the bottom, Visa Cash App RB slipping to the lowest team as Alpine and Haas both make upgrades.
Welcome along, everybody, to Imola, just down the road from Ferrari HQ, and they know a thing or two about pace, and pace today is king. It's qualifying day, and it's great to have you with us.
I'm looking forward to this one. I think this can be a real good race weekend for the entire team. In real life, McLaren has always gone well at Imola. Lando has always gone well at Imola. They did this very year in 2024. And I've always gone pretty well at Imola. We had some really fond memories on the last game, winning this as home races for our respective other brands. But that was a different timeline. That was a completely different universe. This is now, and we are a rookie in Formula 1. And this is our first outing here at the Imola Grand Prix. The fabled one of 2 Italian Grand Prix we've got coming up this season. Bit of traffic to navigate on the first flying lap in Q1 as we overtake Ocon. Tsunoda gets out the way just about as he harvests his energy. I think he's on a outlap there. And even with the slightly, slow mobile chicanes of the V-Carb and the Alpine, we actually managed to top Q1. Hang on a minute. I said this was going to be maybe a great race weekend, but this, are we about to start cooking? This is unbelievable. P1 for us. Maybe we should have chosen that goal from Colin to outqualify Lando. Lando's up there though, P5, showing the car genuinely has some pace, but we were nearly 4 tenths ahead of everyone in Q1. So that is a very good start to the qualifying, day here in Imola. But that also puts the pressure on me now, because now I kind of know that there's some time and position to be delivered, and now everyone else is the one chasing me down and looking to close the gap. And with that in the back of my mind, maybe already stunting my performance with a bit of a lock-up in Sector 1 as we try to maybe break a little bit later that time round to maybe gain even more time. And that's the problem sometimes. I actually like maybe not being too quick in Q1 and building yourself up as you go through the sessions rather than the one setting the pace. But to be fair, even with that mistake in Sector 1, we're still looking pretty good. This time Lando has pipped us, but look at that. 1-2 for McLaren. 0.031 behind Lando. But honestly, we might be onto it. Okay, oh no, okay. Things have changed a little bit. I was going to say, are we onto an absolute heater where, like in real life, we are going well in the papaya car, but now other people have gone quicker. So now I'm confused at where our real pace is, because I was really happy we matched Lando in that session, but now Verstappen's gone quicker, Sainz and Leclerc up there. Even Russell went quicker than both us papaya boys. So interesting. Q3 then, it's all on the line. And there's also now a bit of mystery of, do we have the pace to go towards the front end of the grid, or was that maybe just Q1 and Q2 was the real true performance? Let's see. As we aggressively attack the last chicane, but maybe a little bit too aggressive there as the rear end steps out. That's a mistake we can't afford if we want to be towards the sharp end, and that might just cost us the first 2 rows at least minimum, as we now try to make up for it by going very aggressive on the turn-in the last few corners, very narrowly missing the gravel trap as we go to the line. What's it going to be? P2, 0.072 off Verstappen. It's game on then. Sainz and Leclerc have gone slower. Lando's behind us as well. We're right now provisionally on the front row, but we've gone green in the first sector. Only marginally, we've got a yellow second sector. Lock up into the chicane, but this time we hold the rear end steady, and that's going to gain us and put us back into the green on the delta time, but only by a small margin. We have to gain 0.07. We're going to 0.06. We're teetering on the edge of enough to maybe beat Verstappen's lap time, but the final corner was a bit of a mess. We took far too much curb. I was trying to be too eager, and we go slower, and we have to remain in second place. But in the oh my god, in the end, Lando delivers. Lando has landed on pole position. Oh man, of course I got ahead of too much. It's our rookie season. I'm not going to be getting a pole position. I'm not going to be beating Lando at a track he loves like Imola. He's on pole, and he's on pole by 0.4 of a second. He's done a mega job. Annoyingly though, looking at the lap times, if I actually managed to replicate my Q1 lap, it would have been a 1-2 for McLaren. So there's some genuine pace in this car around this circuit, but like I said, sometimes, well, at least for me, I'm not a great qualifier. You guys know that. So doing such a great lap in Q1 was actually really the opposite of what I needed, because it basically meant I had this pressure of trying to match that lap time. And you saw there was a mistake in Q2. There was an even bigger mistake in Q3, and we just didn't hold it together basically. So what could have been? What could have been? But that's how qualifying goes sometimes. You know, you can be quicker in the earlier sessions. For us, to be fair, let's be real. Second row still amazing in normal qualifying conditions. Second row, I think that's our highest qualifying slot, without any funny business of a sprint quali or whatever. So we've got to be very happy about that. But Lando on pole shows there's maybe even more in the tank. Could this be an absolutely fantastic Grand Prix coming up for McLaren as a whole? Let's go to the grid and find out.
This race has gone by several former names: the Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's race day. We're at Imola. Welcome. Unlike most Formula One tracks, Imola is driven anti-clockwise and offers our drivers today just over 3 miles of glistening wet tarmac to negotiate. It's made up of a roughly equal split of 9 right-hand turns and 10 left-hand. Watch the drivers on the way into turn 16. Managing their speed there will be crucial, with the rain only adding to the difficulty of that downhill braking section, which then, of course, leads into the track's longest straight, though no DRS there today, of course. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc and McLaren, Sainz, Russell, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Joe, Stroll, Gasly, Bottas, Albon, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
It's raining here in Imola, and they've got the dries on. They've got the dries on. Yep. If you guys watched the, the 2 parts ago at the Chinese Grand Prix, part number 5, I think it was, of the series, in the sprint, we had the same thing where at the moment there is a big glitch where the game will not let you put inters on or full wets when it's raining, and it doesn't set the AI to inters, even though it really is truly intermediate weather. It's going to be raining the entire race. The entire race, all 32 laps are going to be wet weather, and yet we're starting on dries. I've opted to switch at least to the soft compound because my thinking was, if we have to start on dries, at least let me start on softs to get that initial bite in, because the softer the compound, the better it's going to perform in the damp, colder conditions and bite in a bit more. But the thing is, I actually don't know if this is going to last the whole race. I don't know if the AI at all ever make the decision to switch back over to inters or switch to inters ever. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this goes. I'm trying to desperately get some heat into the front tyres. The rear tyres are actually lit up quite a fair bit. That's just because I've been wheel spinning everywhere because of the lack of grip, and obviously to add to misery, I've been pushed back in my pit box. Of course I have. Right, we get ready to go to a soaking Imola Grand Prix, but all of us are on dry tyres as we go to 5 red lights. The Imola Grand Prix is underway. It's a slow one for Leclerc. Verstappen's actually had an okay getaway. Lando narrowly maintains P1. He's going to block Verstappen, and he's going to open up the door for us to slide through not only 1 but 2 positions. We're up into first place. We're leading the Imola Grand... Oh, what? 2 illegal overtakes? We didn't even go off circuit. Hardly. We kept at least one side of our car within the white lines. We've defended now very aggressively on Verstappen because I had to let Lando through, and apparently I got an illegal overtake on Verstappen, so I had to let him by. So we let him by momentarily and then defended him straight away, because if I'm going to lose first place, then I at least wanted to be a great teammate to Lando and let him get P1 back again. So absolutely not letting Verstappen get it, and now he's pushed down to P4, but Sainz is all over us here. The Spaniard's looking pretty feisty. As you can see, we've continued on because I saw Lando continue on, so I'm going to continue for now on the dries. To be fair, compared to China, the grip isn't too horrendous. Like, it's a lot better than you would think it would be with dry tyres on a wet circuit. It's not as bad as it was in Shanghai. Lando setting purple lap times right now on the hard compound. And my soft tyre strategy really hasn't worked out too much, because now they're coming at me at a rate of knots. 3 wide with the Red Bull Ferrari. Now 4 as the Leclerc comes down the inside. We're taking it very easy because I just know at any point there could be a mistake. It's still treacherous out there as Sainz and Verstappen make contact. You saw them wagging their tails. So the drivers around us, they are also struggling for grip. But because they're AI, to break the fourth wall a bit, obviously they're pin perfect, whereas I am not pin perfect, and I am struggling for grip. And obviously, to be fair, we all should be, because it's intermediate weather. It's not dry tyre weather, as we now pinch out Verstappen, but Sainz has got us. We re-overtook Verstappen there with the little wobble mistake and contact he made with Sainz, but Sainz has got us, and we're down to P3 now. Meanwhile, Lando's streaking out 6 seconds ahead, and you wouldn't even tell that he's got issues in the car. Like, he's got no problems. He's obviously nailing the throttle and getting it pin perfect every single corner, whereas I am spinning the wheels up a little bit, and I've just not got the pace as these AI in this weird dry wet scenario. And the thing is, I just know it's annoying because I know it's because it's inters. It is inters. And we should be all on the intermediates, but instead, we're all here like absolute lemons on the dry tyres. And now we've half spun. Great. Great stuff. Great. And the ERS is abysmal again. Look at that. I've got no back. How are these guys saving this much battery around the lap? How are they doing it? Like, how? I'm going none for a whole sector here, and we've saved up enough battery just to keep up with them, let alone overtake them ahead of us. And we're just going backwards now. And at this point, I thought, look, we went well in China, pitting onto inters and then catching them back up. So surely we could do that again. Surely that's something we could do here. So I am going to pit at the end of this lap onto intermediates. In China, in the sprint race, a 10-lap sprint, we pit for inters on lap 1, and we caught back the entire field to win the race. So I was thinking, surely, okay, we wasted a bit of time, 4 laps to be exact, on the dries, but I'm hoping we can do it again. I'm hoping we can close back up on intermediates, which is the correct tyre compound, considering how much water is being kicked up as we enter the pit lane and exit the pit box. So, yeah, let's see. We're the only car on intermediates. This is, yeah, a very bizarre situation. Once again, like in Miami, it's very hard to keep up the role-playing aspect of this series and do what I usually do, which is commentate this like a real F1 race, because this isn't a real F1 race, because it can't be, because of this silly situation with the tyre compounds. As we come out on lap 5 on inters, no one else is going to come in anytime soon, so we just get our head down. And at least the good thing is being in clean air means I can hopefully save ERS in the way I want to save it and not have to overuse it just to try and defend the AI on the straights. Russell set the fast lap of the Grand Prix. He was down in P7, remember, just behind us before we made a pit stop. Now, he set a 1:25, I think. So he's gone 4 seconds quicker than I did on the softs. But now, I've come in and I've gone 2 seconds quicker than him on the intermediates. Just showing that this is the correct tyre. Because then on to lap 11. That was 4 laps since that clip on lap 7. And I've closed up 15 seconds to the pack, to Magnussen. Just showing that this is absolutely the right tyre compound for these conditions. And yet, the AI are staying out. And yet, my tyres are so hot internally. Brick red on the rear left and rear right, which means I'm actually going to face more tyre wear than the AI, even though I'm on the right tyre compound. We make the dive on Magnussen to get our first overtake done on these inters, but yeah, I've caught them up very quickly. But now our the tyre wear, the tyre heating now is also clearly glitched in this instance, because we're on the right compound. I've gone 2 seconds quicker than anyone on dries. So my tyres shouldn't be heating up this much, like, at all. Look how wet it is. This doesn't scream, oh, the inters need massive cooling. And even if they did, the levels of overheating that are on show on the heads-up display that, you know, on the previous lap, brick red, I would have to be trundling along at, like, doing a 1:30, like, lap time to cool them down. But my pace is a 1:23, because that's how quick I can go on inters in these conditions. So we make the move on Ricciardo, but you can kind of tell into every corner, especially the high-speed ones, my rear end is kicking out. That's not because of the intermediate conditions being slippery and slidey, because I've got the downforce and I've got the grip for it. It's because the tyres are so hot internally that they're losing grip and they're giving me oversteer into the corners, despite really it being the right condition. Just because they're overheated. We make a lovely little move, though, on Ocon there. That was a nice one, as we pretty much didn't have to break our racing line at all, really. And very much using all the curbs as well. Curb riding as much as we can, knowing that we're going to be a little more stable on the curbs than any of these guys around this. But, yeah, progress isn't lightning quick once we've caught up to these guys, because my tyres are overheating so much. So in a very odd way, it's equalising our pace. Like, I really should be flying through these guys. But now, as we make that move on Hulkenberg, look at the icon. It was orange on my tyres, as we see Gasly fighting Valtteri Bottas, and that's really holding up this entire pack, so we are able to sling it down the inside of Logan Sargent. But yeah, the tyre icon is orange on the right-hand side. The tyre wear is already 61% on the right rear. So I was hoping I could go to the end on Inters and like jump everyone that way, but I'm going to have to make another pit stop. So well and truly, there's no winning in this race. The only winning that's going to be done for McLaren is maybe Lando, who leads the way by 6 seconds. But this is, I'm basically, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because if I carried on those dries with everyone else, I was 4 seconds off the pace on dries versus the drivers around me. I come in and I'm 2 seconds quicker than everyone for only 5 laps. Then my tyres overheat, which they shouldn't be in these conditions, and my pace slows down again, and we're doing 127. So we're now going 2 seconds slower than the drivers around us who are setting a faster pace. Well, Russell was setting a 125 earlier in the race, and I'm going 2 seconds quicker than I was on dries, but only 2 seconds quicker, which means I'm not really gaining that much on the top cars that are going 2 seconds quicker than me. If that all made sense, you'll realise, yeah, I'm absolutely screwed in this race. The tyre weight's 82%. I mean, look at those temperatures. Look at those temperatures. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's not like it's a Brazil 2012 scenario where, oh, it looks really wet, but it is legitimately time for dries. Because we know this is a glitch from the Chinese Grand Prix, and from many of you experiencing the very same thing. And along with the glitch of the tyre compound choice is, I think, a glitch of the tyres. The tyre model should absolutely not be overheating my Inters this much, to the point where I'm 92% tyre wear on the rear right. I'm surprised I've not got a puncher on that rear right tyre as we're skating through on lap 16. We're back up to P9, to be fair. We've recovered from last place to P9 to 2 points in this race. But now I come in because my Inters can't take them any longer. I'm going to go on for another set of intermediates. And I will try my best to protect the tyre temperatures a bit more this time, okay? I'm going to on purpose, because they did say in this new tyre model that you would have to cool your intermediates, that you would have to drive offline to cool them. So I'm going to drive like that. I'm going to drive offline, you know, as we wind up the speed. I'm going to obviously still try and go quick, but I will try and maybe maneuver myself a bit off the racing line to try and cool the tyres down. And I bet you it's not going to do anything. As we close up to Gasly now, with sort of purple middle sector on that outlap there. The Alpine's going to be a bit of a nuisance and kind of park it awkwardly as we dive down the inside. Right now, our temperatures are looking all good. Ironically, my engine temperature has not been an issue at all this race. So at least that's solved. At least that's solved from Miami. Yeah, we're going on. And you can see I'm driving a little bit to the left. You know, I'm sticking the racing lines to the right. I've stuck to the left there a little bit, trying to cool the tyres, going to the right, cooling the tyres a bit because the racing line's a bit in the middle, and the tyres are still overheating. Great stuff. Lovely. Lap 20, fast lap of the Grand Prix, 1:23.1. Gone even quicker here now, a lot quicker. We're up to P10 now. We've undercut and jumped everyone that we had already overtaken. But now this is the issue. The top pack ahead of me, tail-ended by Stroll, they're going to be quicker than me eventually because my tyres are going to start overheating and wearing at a much higher rate. So that gap to Stroll, I tried so hard, but it's just not coming down. Lap 26, and the gap is pretty much the same. I'm still matching my race objectives, but the tyres are so hot. They're so hot. My engine's fine, but the tyres are absolutely screaming. And I had to accept at this point on lap 27, I'm just going to the end now, trundling along. And I've got to accept P10. 1 championship point from a second row on the grid. 1 champion! No! And the car's gone! No! And we've hit the wall. Oh, it's game over, folks. It's game over. I'm just going to go find the nearest bridge and jump off it. Puncher on the rear right tyre, and it was into the worst corner ever, Aqua Minerale. So you go so quickly into that right-hander, and it just spun the car completely. We've got floor damage, diffuser damage, front wing damage, tyre damage with the puncher, as we can't even turn the car for that chicane, and we cut across the grass. We're down to P14, and this race has gone from what should have been a glorious effort for McLaren to a dismal one for me. At least Lando's still leading the way. 8 seconds of a gap. He's dominated this Imola Grand Prix. A little bit thanks to me, obviously, with the defending I did versus everyone else to give him a bit of a buffer in stint 1 to then go and continue to have that gap to the rest of the grid. But this is a sad, sad sight. We are limping home on 3 wheels to come in for a pit stop. Look at the damage. Oh, my! And we've crashed into the pit lane entry. I actually have to reset my car because I was legit stuck in the pit lane entry. I would have literally got disqualified. Oh, my God. That's Lando. That's poetry. Lando laps us just as we come into the pits and reset our car. Amazing. Amazing. All of you, man, out there, that was saying, why have you chosen McLaren? That's way too easy. What are you saying now? Because I'm absolutely getting trounced by Lando in the teammate rivalry. And if you paid attention to the game, that rivalry means a lot for your recognition, for your contract, for how you progress in this career. So right now, yes, okay, maybe times will get better. We've had a difficult race today. Difficult race last time out. These things happen in a rookie debut season. But Lando's performing at such a high level. And then there's me. And then there's... Oh my God. That sums it up, doesn't it? That sums it up. Oh, that's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing. This is the first time in a long while I have legit felt like an actual rookie at the start of one of these career mode series. Obviously, I know, and you'll agree, a large part of this entire episode is not my fault because of the rain. But this last bit was just sad. So we're going to retire the car. We're going to retire the car 2 laps down. Unbelievable. The damage we had to the rear wing and diffuser and floor was just too much. So even on fresh tyres in the front wing change, we couldn't do anything. But let's celebrate this man, because Lando Norris is coming through for his 2nd win in Formula 1. He's dominated Imola.
Position 13. Great job. Yeah, man. Fantastic. Fuck, you made my life tough, huh? I know, mate. A hard tyre.
They take the checkered flag then here in Imola in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
I am genuinely very, very happy for our teammate there. Lando's 2nd win, and makes up for the real-life Imola Grand Prix in a way, you know, revenge in the game here at least. And he's 2nd in the championship. He's still quite a ways off Verstappen, but he is the main man maybe chasing down the Dutchman if Red Bull continue to maybe slip up here and there. In the Constructors, I am definitely letting the side down. We should be ahead of Ferrari by now, but obviously the last 2 episodes have not been great for me, and in general, obviously I'm scoring less points than Lando, which is, you know, why I go back to, yeah, sure, we might be in a very good car, but I am really quite struggling with this game so far, and it means I'm getting a proper realistic rookie experience. Thankfully, even with that horrendous race, we actually go up a rating. We go up to 77 because of our pace and awareness from the entire race weekend. So that's at least a positive. You know, that's good to see. Obviously, we lost out with basically the expected position, or the positions lost in that entire situation. But happy to go up 1 overall rating to 77 rated now. Recognition's the same, even though we lost focus. We gained on rating, so we've stayed the same recognition in the team, 38%. And specialist-wise, we actually didn't do too bad. We failed the one objective of going 3 purples during a race weekend, but we actually, funny enough, we actually did accomplish Colin's objective and Zoe's as well, and so that's the first time we've got a perk unlocked from a specialist, and it's Zoe, of course, in the wind tunnel engineering department. That's at least a positive to end on, but Yeah, what a messy episode again, and it's not really even my fault. I hope you can understand that, but it is what it is. This is my career mode, and this is how my career mode episode for Imola turned out. Guys, if you have enjoyed at least the laughability of the episode, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and my God, I hope next episode at Monaco is a dry one. Till then, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.